of their geography or their past, but because of their ability or inability to make the best of their environment. We now have tarmac roads and airports in long neglected and others. Hostels have sprouted in Wajir and Garissa. Northeastern can now access clean water through borehole drilling programs. Processing plants are sprouting in Makueni, Uasin Gishu, Nyandarua, and Kirinyaga, among others, underscoring the potential of counties as the next centers of industrialization and job creation. A 35-year-old mountain of garbage has been taken out of Kisumu near the stadium, underscoring Devolution's capacity to stop the march of environmental degradation in the countryside. Unfortunately, these positive developments mean that there will be greater expectations of the county governments. Voters expect progress to be a straightforward march into the future, not a zigzag back and forth journey. Devolution's achievements should therefore not be celebrated without taking into full account the challenges ahead. The challenges and areas of possible conflict are glaring. For instance, the national government is pursuing its Big Four agenda: food security, affordable housing, manufacturing, and affordable health care. Most of these are devolved functions. Making sure the implementation by the national government does not undermine devolution or result in duplication and conflict is a challenge that we must address. There are two issues which I consider cardinal to the success or failure of devolution: good governance and political leadership. Good leaders need vision for the work they set out to do and a clear mission on how to pursue their vision. Often such vision and mission are stated in a manifesto. In our county, the governor's manifesto must find its way into the County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP, to inform social and economic transformation. Implementing manifestos cannot be done unless the governor knits together a team that can deliver. You are therefore as good as your team. Someone said, "Show me your friends, and I will tell you whom you are." But even here, there are challenges. How do governors implement their manifestos in an environment where the Big Four agenda includes devolved functions? A solution has to be found. And as they say, wherever there is a will, there's always a way. At this point, I wish to single out some very immediate threats to devolution that that we need to address this early. Governors and the county public services continue to be accused of engaging in self-enrichment. And I saw the whip of the governors complaining that they are being unfairly accused of being corrupt, that the corrupt ones have gone home. Too many governors and their executives are viewed with suspicion by voters, and many are under active investigations by the EACC. There is nepotism and cronyism in counties, and too many counties are failing to come up with clear pro-youth programs, with the counties also talk of an elaborate network of youth employment. People pursuing businesses with counties. People pursuing businesses with the counties also talk of an elaborate network of county assembly speakers, leaders of majority, CECs, county work supervisors, and county clerks, among others, whose sole purpose is to make money from public works projects. The officials have the capacity and audacity to paralyze, delay, and stall development projects. MCAs and county speakers are particularly being accused of a conflict of interest. Often, they are the contractors, while at the same time purporting to be carrying out oversight roles. The quest for cuts has also led to a craze for allowances by members of county assemblies that is also paralyzing counties. Governors have to pay for their cabinets to be approved. To date, there are counties that are yet to form full cabinets because of the standoff between governors and MCAs. Members of county assemblies are constantly on so-called benchmarking and team-building trips that are essentially acts of bribery by the executive to have their agenda approved and a quest for allowances. This corruption network is eating devolution from inside out. We have to stop it, or it will altogether kill our most important gift to ourselves, ever since our forefathers brought us independence. Sometimes, the idea of corruption is based on rumors and perception. But there are also cases where eyebrows have been raised because the lifestyles of people have changed overnight. The best way to stop rumors from assuming the pedestal of truth is for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to undertake objective lifestyle audits of suspects. Two institutions are key to proper financial management and accountability: the Internal Audit Department and the Procurement Department. Working hand in hand within the Finance Department, they can make or break good governance in the county. The governor has a duty to ensure that the people appointed to these departments are qualified, competent, and accountable and smart. The good news is that fighting corruption and shielding devolution are no longer matters of partisan debate. The MOU of the now famous handshake of March 9th prioritizes making counties deliver to the people. It also identifies corruption as an existential threat to the country. The President and I have agreed that we must fight corruption from a wide and common front. We shall not provide sanctuaries for perpetrators of corruption. We will strongly support whistleblowing from all Kenyans. You have mandated the public to report corruption wherever they witness it, but without witch hunt. Very soon, the corrupt will be on their own. But governors also have their side of the story. For instance, counties are failing to attract high-caliber, public-spirited personnel because of the existing pay structure. Because of this, policy papers are wanting in some counties, and many governors lack quality advisory services. There seems to be a genuine need to review pay policy to enable counties to attract quality staff without necessarily increasing costs. We need to help our counties generate funds that would help them finance quality staffing in addition to providing services. One way to do this is to review and rationalize taxation policies. Counties have very small tax collection bases. In tourism sector, for instance, the VAT, catering levy, and tourism levy all go to the national government. Overall, counties have only about 15% taxation revenue base. There is too much confusion in the management of road sector, with the national government laying claim to most roads while doing nothing to maintain them. I was in an earlier incarnation a Minister for Roads and Public Works, and we did classification of roads. I'm sure if you use that classification, you'll be able to separate what the national government needs to do and what the county government should be doing. But holding work at the national level does not help the infrastructure development at the grassroots level. We also need to review the relationship between regional authorities like Lake Basin Development Authority, the Kerio Valley Development Authority, Coast Development Authority, Tana and Afi Development Authority, and the county and national governments. And we must help our counties resolve boundary disputes. Let me make a brief mention of the wealth creation in counties based on investments, own revenue generation, and employment creation. I encourage counties to remain aggressive in creating the institutional basis for investment by utilizing all legal instruments available for doing this. Here, we would like to refer to the PPP law, which need to be reformed. The special economic zones, export processing zones, business incubation institutions, agribusiness investments, skills and business development centers, and so on. Further, counties should not simply rely on getting locally generated revenues through licenses, rates, and fees. The real difference in own revenue generation will only come from improved productivity. Counties must demonstrate to the national government that they are coming of age. The national government must also be ready to provide the necessary backup when counties take investment initiatives for employment and wealth creation. The first 5 years of devolution witnessed enormous constraints in taking initiatives for investment in the counties. The PPP legal framework was particularly unclear, still not very clear, and I invite the national government to look at the PPP legislation from India, particularly from the state of Gujarat, which I tried to introduce when I was a Prime Minister. That will help us to create a proper infrastructure that will attract very many investors to come and invest in our counties. However, the national government still needs to do more in helping counties with transaction advisors and undertaking capacity building functions in line with the Intergovernmental Relations Act. Very soon, we may need to address the issue of access to external funding in counties with the national government as an intermediary, giving the transfer of functions in line with the Schedule 4 of the Constitution. I want to end by saying something about the structure and viability of counties as presently constituted and the bridges to a new Kenya initiative. We continue to encourage our counties to explore the formation of economic blocks to address some of the challenges identified. This is also part of the MOU of the Building Bridges to a New Kenyan Nation initiative. Counties must work together regardless of the political affiliation of their governors, senators, and MCAs. And I'm very happy with the spirit I'm seeing here today. I therefore allow the formation of the 14-county Lake Region Economic Bloc, the Coast Counties Forum, and another one I've been told of the Northern Counties, and also appeal to the county assemblies to cooperate and pass legislation to aid the realization of these blocks. I encourage all counties that are exploring such formations to soldier on and the assemblies to cooperate. Going forward, however, and as a matter of lasting solution to the problem posed by the sizes of the economies of developed units, I want to propose to this forum that we need to bite the bullet and revisit the structure of devolution. The Boma's draft constitution divided Kenya into 14 regions, each made up of several districts or counties. The intention was to create units with a size and population that made them economically viable. It is time to look at how to recover this original spirit. My proposal is that we adopt a three-tier system that retains the current counties, creates regional or provincial governments, and retains the national government with a very clear formula for revenue sharing. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, you are one of the most critical stakeholders in the future of our country. I wish to invite all of you to support and take steps to the realization of the Building Bridges to the New Kenyan Nation initiative contained in the MOU we signed with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Our aim is modest, humble, and noble. We want to address ethnic antagonism in our country. We all appreciate that we have several countries in one today in Kenya. When a young person goes to do an interview, his or her name can be either a blessing or a curse. Just by mentioning his or her name, the interview already has taken a decision whether he's going to get it or not going to get it. This is something that we must kill. You said also that we want to deal with lack of national ethos, inclusivity, strengthen devolution, end corruption, and divisive elections, ensure safety and security, and ensure shared prosperity. I think this is a spirit that we need to embrace. Kenya is a great country. Kenya has a great potential. We are blessed with a big population which is youthful. Over nearly 70% of our population is under 35 years of age. The youth can either be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you treat it. If you empower our youth through proper training, skills development, they can become a source for wealth creation. If we neglect them, they become delinquents, drunkards, drug addicts, criminals. So we must follow the first path of empowering our people. This is the road that other countries that have made it, like China, Korea, Malaysia, even India have followed, by empowering the youth so that the youth can become a source for wealth creation in our country. We, as Kenya, can actually be a leading country in not only in this region, but in the continent of Africa. Africa is the richest continent on earth in terms of resources. It's unfortunate that the richest country in terms of resources is also the poorest. This does not need to be so all the time. This can be changed. But this is because of the way in which Africa has been governed for a long time. The mediocrity with which Africa has been governed is what is responsible for our backwardness. But this narrative must change, and we take our destiny into our own hands as Africa. And I've been saying this a story of the Kenyan lion, which is also now the African lion. And this is the message of the African lion to the Asian tiger. It says that the European bear retreated to the poles and is asleep there. The American panda is now limping. The Asian tiger, you have danced alone for too long on the stage. When African lion have been asleep in the Congo forest. But now the African lion has woken up and is saying that an African lion here, I'm standing in the continent of Africa, surrounded by the River Nile to the east, River Congo in the middle, River Niger in the west, Zambezi and Limpopo in the south, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya in the east, Atlas Mountains in the west. I am sitting here on the African diamond, African gold, African oil, African bauxite. I am now awake and I'm going to use all these resources for the benefit of my people, Africa. And I'm going to reclaim the 21st century as truly the African century. This is the message of the African lion, and this is the message that the Kenyan lion is sending to the world. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. God bless Kenya.